Sometimes I feel I wanna hide, but that's just only in my mind. This funky groove just keeps me high. It brings me alive.
And maybe I'll wait for the ring. Get caught up in it, let my thoughts go. So many things on my mind. Get me back living high. Ooh, I think I'm feeling real nice. And give me that 35. And play me that 35. And play me that 35. I feel this 35. Can you feel this 35? I feel this 35. Can you feel this 35?
There's just so many ways to feel. Yeah, this is different, but it's made to heal. Just let this groove run through your mind. Let it get you high.
It's more than a moment, giving me life. The feeling of euphoria, colors are flickering bright. And I'm here, got me going. And I don't wanna leave, keeping me here. And play me that 35. Give me that 35. I feel this 35. Can you feel this 35? I feel this 35. Can you feel this 35?
It's overwhelming and indescribable. I get stressed from the world, so I'm turning to unreliable. Bass, guitar, and some keys, even the horns takes me places in the fields of gold I can adorn. I feel at most peace I possibly ever been, especially in those moments where it's set for me to never win. Overcome the odds, expression that be my cause, and turning this energy to a round of applause. I sing in with the melodies, fluent vibes incredibly. 2 steps to shoulder bounces and rock it steadily. Illustrate my thoughts with this pen to paint a better me. It's my escape of running this race to where the cheddar be. Now my emotions exploring all on the canvas, so even when I'm old, I'm still a man on the canvas. Keeps me clean even when my thoughts is on the dirty side. That's why I'm baptized with blessings on this 35.
It's on my mind. This 35. Let our thoughts just intertwine and fill up on this 35. It's always 35. This 35. Let our thoughts just intertwine and fill up on this 35. It's on my mind. 35. This 35. Let our thoughts just intertwine and fill up on this 35. It's on my mind. I'm feeling on this 35. Let our thoughts just intertwine and fill up on this 35. Feeling on this 35. I feel just check 1, 2. Can you feel this 35? I feel this 35. Can you feel this 35?
So it's Monday. So you know what that means. That means it's the D Hearne Show. I won't be before you long, but you're gonna see me do something out of the ordinary today. Let me know you guys can hear me. Type some ones. Type some ones. But I'm gonna do my parlay now. I'm addicted to these parlays. It's like it's fun. It makes the game better for me. Like when I can watch the game and actually follow it. Let's see. You guys are actually getting to see me do this parlay. It's actually kind of funny. Let's see. That. These guys don't like one thing I don't like about the NBA. These guys don't play like they should. They don't play at a high level. They actually kind of flog the Dolphin in a lot of ways. They don't play well in the playoffs sometimes. They kind of lollygag. So you putting these, these parlays together and then they blow it up in the first quarter. Like somebody, and I never take unders. Never take unders. If you're on FanDuel, never take unders. I'm telling you, it always does you wrong. Assists. Let's see. Let's see. Kyrie will get 6 and Luca will get 6. Let's just do it that way. Okay, fine. I'll take it. And the boost, and here we go. It is ready. Okay, let's get the show started. Let me share it with my friends though. All right. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I had a pretty decent weekend. I was out on the East Coast this weekend. I was in Washington, D.C. I landed in Washington and I was in Hampton, Virginia, and then I was in Philadelphia last night. Got home this morning, and your boy is really, really spent right now. But that's the life. I don't understand how people are like, I want to do tours. I want to do tours. We do these weekend things, and I'm ready to pass out. And it's always been this way. You could say, oh, you just getting older. No, I never liked doing them because this constant run. You get up early, then you got to drive somewhere or travel to the airport. Then you get to the airport, you got to check in. Then you got to go to the gate. You got to go from the gate, go get your bag, then go to another bus, go to the hotel if you're lucky, and then go to the venue for sound check. Then you're there, then you do the gig, and then the part that we love is being on stage. It's nothing like it. Being on stage is the best part about gigging. Being on stage is the best part about gigging because once you're off the stage and the business and everything else, it just becomes really, really hectic. So I don't know. Now, y'all want to do the tour things? I rather just do. I got my one and the other things that I do, but mostly I will record right here. I'll record right here or do some local stuff. I don't know why people like to shoot down local gigs. I was having to talk about this earlier about the fun and doing local gigs. I mean, it's some aspects of being playing for national artists and more name, you know, larger name audiences or artists. But at the end of the day, playing locally can have its advantages because you're not under the gun. You know what I'm saying? It's not a whole lot you got to be pressured with. It's a vibe. It's you can just play and you got to worry about a whole lot of things. I mean, yeah, money sometimes is an issue. We get it. But as far as playing, the local gigs for me, they just more organic. They're fun. They're fun, pure fun. And I like those. Playing nationally and internationally, sometimes it could be a drag. But I wouldn't trade it. I just don't like the travel. I don't like the travel. I really don't. But anyway, if you know me, you know I like to watch a lot of different things. I like to watch sports. I like to watch news. I like to watch a host of things. But one thing I do not like to watch often is daytime stuff like The View and other things because they're mostly, unfortunately, women biased. They pretty much can say whatever they want about men and get away with it. But if you say anything about women, you're gonna get lit up. We already know that. We can't even have ESPN these days. We don't even have ESPN. What's up, Jay? Good to see you, buddy. Buddy. But anyway, so the View had an issue with what it was a roast that Tom Brady pretty much did on himself. His wife, he took some jabs there, but he pretty much roasted himself. But they didn't have a problem with him roasting himself. They don't have a problem. They never do. But now the View, they slammed Tom Brady for what he said about his wife. And I looked at this and I said, see, this is what I'm talking about. I say it all the time on my show that men don't have an outlet. We cannot say anything about anything without them coming and try to slam us. That's kind of plausible. Where you at, Whitehead? Are you here?
Pause.
Yeah, that's kind of possible because I don't want to be slammed. I don't want to be slammed. But they slam men for taking jokes or jabs, right? I remember one time, it's ironic that Donald Trump is facing these cases, but I remember one time Stormy got on a national, international show and talked about this man's male member or lack thereof and roasted him to no end. Nobody said anything. But if that same man, and I don't care for Donald Trump, I will never defend him. But if he says something about her, then it's like the wheels fall off. They say, oh, he's a horrible, he's misogynist, he's sexist, but you shouldn't, and I get it, you shouldn't be saying it. Some of the things he said was despicable, but at the end of the day, you cannot allow her to say anything about him. And then when he says something else, now it's a problem. But you were silent when it was her. And that's the thing that a lot of men are picking up. And we're looking like and saying, okay, this is not fair to us. You said these women aren't sensitive until the joke is directed at them. Right. And that's what I'm saying. I'm just want equality. This, and he didn't really go back and look at Tom Brady's roast. It was really, he took some jabs, but she left him. He's gonna take some jabs. But it is what it is. I just didn't like it. And I don't like The View for that reason. Now, I used to really, really like Whoopi Goldberg, but she's changed. She's changed over the years. She's become more, I say, misandrous. She just goes at men like everything's men. Men are misogynistic and patriarchal. It needs to go away. It's antiquated. I'm like, okay, come on. Until it's time for us to put our lives on the line to defend you. Now you want that part. You can't make this up, people. You just absolutely cannot make this up. But Whoopi Goldberg, we already know about her.
Women who talk like you die alone.
Absolutely. I agree, Kevin. I agree wholeheartedly. But anyway, there was an issue that happened. He took real jabs. I know it was hard to sit through, but he's a good sport. I mean, yeah, I agree, Myson. Now, there's something that came to my timeline, and a lot of you were sharing it, and you had your views on it. And it was about this guy right here getting his hair braided by his students. And it caused a huge discussion. Not so huge that it would make a segment on my show, but a huge enough discussion because people were cringed. They were looking at this and saying, "Oh, he shouldn't have done it." And some people say there's nothing wrong with it or whatever. Let me say this. When I was in high school and even in my middle school, the teachers used to open up their room. They used to be real close to kids. They used to be close to them. They called them by the Mister, and some of them sometimes they called them by their first name. I never could do it. Always had a respect for my elders, and even to this day, I say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, or yes, sir, no, sir. And sometimes these people may be younger than me, but if they are in a position of authority, I still give them that respect. So I really didn't like, them calling teachers by their first name. But it used to be times where they would go to them and they would talk to them and they would treat them like they were just one of the guys or gals. And to me, I didn't see anything wrong with what I saw here because he's just getting his hair taken down. I mean, I don't understand how people could see anything sensual here. And you can say, well, women, they have a crush. I work with children in childcare and they have crushes, even at that young. You know what I'm saying? And you know where the line should not be crossed. So these little girls, these young little girls, your little daughters, when I come in the building, they run up to me, "Oh, you smell so good, Mr. Hearne." 4 years old. They develop crushes young. So there's nothing you can do about them having crushes. But it's not like he's taking these girls anywhere. Only thing, and he was smart enough to videotape it. So you can't say it was anything going on. I didn't see anything wrong. A lot of these young girls, they are aspiring, hairstylists. So they want to do hair, they want to do fashion or work with men's hair. So they may have taken it and say, you know what, he's letting us do it, getting practice on this hair. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Me, if it was my daughter, I would be like, well, I'd be like, do you want to do hair? She was like, no, we was just messing his hair. I would have probably had a talk with her, but I would not have reprimanded her. I don't think I would have. I'm positive I would not have. I would have taken that moment to educate her on some things. And perception is one of those things I would have educated her on. But I don't think this was anything wrong. Some of you people, you are so far. I always say this, and I said it on this show before. We've become colder. You know, like when people just so much from the old school, they used to hug and people used to give kisses to children and pat them on the head and everything else. And now today in society is deemed to be creepy. You can't even, somebody that's far removed from this culture will probably hug a child and you say, oh, that's creepy. Because we're so cold. We don't hug. We don't even shake hands. I mean, I walk up the street. I was having talk with a young man, and we were talking about how aggressive some men are when you're just looking at them. They're just automatically aggressive. This is the time we live in. Now, when I was younger, black men would see other black men and automatically say, what's up, brother? And I still do it to this day because this is what I learned from that era. When you see a black man, that's always automatically your brother, period. Period. So when I speak to him, what's up, brother? You know, but now it's so cold. Everybody's so, ah, everything's cringe worthy. You can't hug anybody. Y'all would have a fit if you saw these kids run up to me. Seriously, you would have a fit because everything is so cold. Everybody got to be so cold. You can't run. No, the children are like that. They will run, they will hug you. Some of them just want to be around you. And for a lot of them, you're the only male figure they're going to see. Which brings me to this point. Don't you think that other men that may be thinking into entering education will now say, I don't want to deal with that because any little thing, we going to get it. Any little thing somebody's going to say we wrong, we're going to get fired for. And I don't like that. They could have given the man a chance to explain himself and maybe give him some training, but I don't think firing. I agree, Myson. I don't think he should have been fired. Not for hair braiding. I didn't see anything wrong here. I mean, I just wish we just wasn't so cold. Where little things like this, like what do you say? Okay, they was braiding his hair. I used to have locks. And if one of them girls that knew how to do locks really well, because they learn young now. So if she knew how to do locks really well, she locked up my hair so I can get ready to go to a gig probably that night. If she'd done that, you mean to tell me I would get fired because she did my hair? Come on, y'all. Is this where we are? Where it's something this simple. And I agree with Myson. It probably could have been some training and here's another thing. He does have a case. If it wasn't any training, it wasn't nothing in his manual that said you couldn't do that, then he probably would have a case. You fired this man for something that I thought was innocent. It's not his fault that there are some crazy people out here that are taking advantage of young men, young girls, and young boys and dealing with them. This was not that. That's not his fault. You should have some things in place to mitigate situations like that. Especially if it wasn't on class time. I agree. I agree. I just think that that's totally unfair. Speaking of unfair, I always want to ask this question, and I'm sure the fellas will agree. Why is it that young ladies, y'all love to go for the wrong element of men, and then when they use you up and do you wrong, now you older, and now you want the good men, which pretty much are all gone or on their way to be gone. Because I saw something and this was disturbing. Here you got this dude. They posted a mugshot of this dude online and it went crazy viral. Just like the other little light-skinned dude with the blue eyes. Dude is in jail. They posted his mugshot and they are literally salivating over that. They are literally salivating. I mean, it's ridiculous what they're doing. They literally looking at this picture and losing their minds. And I'm not hating, you do what you do. It's for you. But the dude is in trouble. Here's some of his dude. Purchase, possession. They spell possession wrong. That's crazy. Manufacture, distribution, and sale of marijuana, which is weird because I thought marijuana is legal. But if it's not, a operating a motor vehicle without registration, you don't even have a light. You cannot. Wait, where you at, Kevin? I'm sorry. I can't. Am I gonna do it? Yes, I am gonna do it.
God, you can't make this shit up.
You are literally about to run on the cop carousel with this dude that doesn't even have a license. He doesn't have a license. Then possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. And these are the types of dudes that you say, I want to be with, or I want to get with. You want to give the most valuable part of you to a man that has charges and probably more to come. Pause. This dude, literally, check this out. Somebody had this to say. Wait, no, not that. This. D-Bay, what you did, I mean, that alone is disturbing. The fact that you typed that out and you press post, but nevertheless, and it went on. It went on. I could have posted many. He didn't do it, Your Honor. I mean, and it went, and it was men and women, y'all. It was men and women really trying to flirt with this guy. And I never really could understand why you go for the worst of us. But then when you, like I said, when you older and you done popped out some kids with this guy, now all of a sudden you want to say, oh, where's the good men? But you spent your best years chasing out the dudes like this. Help me. Please help me. Help me where you at, Kevin. I know you so well around there.
Help me.
Thank you. Make it make sense for me. It never makes sense. And this is not the only time. There was one time I was in this one group, right? And they would literally, it was like a long streak, like maybe 2-3 weeks, where they were posting lives. Now, if you are in prison and you are incarcerated, how is it that you can go live? Can somebody please help me out? How you can be in jail and go live? You are in jail, but you can go live. Please. And the hearts were racing. Women in the comment section, ooh, you fine. That one, he fine. What is fine about a dude in jail? What is fine about that? I'm sorry. I don't go out and look for women that are in prison. I don't go and say, oh, you fine, babe. But it's different for men, unfortunately, because we could probably do that. And once that PNC kick in, then we're gone. But see, we don't necessarily, in this society, there's no repercussions for men for doing that. That's a double standard. I get it, but it's one that still exists. We don't get that. But you will. So you will let a dude in jail, hanging with other dudes that probably took him to Pound Town. I'm just saying, it happens in jail a lot. And this is the dude that you say, I want to take home. What up, Caleb? Hey, y'all, this dude right here, listen, when I talk about taking the Bulls, pause, by the way, taking the Bulls by the horn, he played this weekend with us, right? When I tell you this dude stepped up to the plate and played this gig, that's what you are supposed to do. When somebody puts you on a gig, you go for it. I didn't say you try to take the gig, but you make it your own, but you prepare yourself and you be professional. Dude was always on time where he was supposed to be, didn't cause problems. Look, this man, listen, y'all need to call him. Caleb, he's on his way. But, he's going to get a lot more calls from me. So you got to wait in line. I'm not even going to hold you. But good job this weekend, Caleb. And yes, I've been doing this for a while now. But I never will understand why that happens. What's up, Deontay? I will never understand why that happens. So even when I was young, it used to make me scratch my head, pause, and say, okay, why did I think that's probably why one of the reasons why I went into my little thug phase. When I went into my little thug phase when I was calling myself with the VLs and everything else, it's because I felt like, hey, this will help me get girls. At least that's what I was thinking. That was one of the reasons, wasn't the only reason, but it was one of the reasons. And yes, there was a perk to it that I thought, but it still evaded me. It still circumvented this man that thought he was a thug now, and all the other dudes were still getting. I was like, wait, what was wrong? I didn't have confidence, and women, they do value confidence. They can see when you are not confident. It's a aura. You call it swag now, but it's a confidence that you should carry as a man, and women find that attractive. I did not have that even then. I had the anger, the aggression, and the bad talking, and I could back it up, but I did not have confidence as it relates to dealing with women. And you absolutely positively need that to increase your value in that market. Women don't like shy, bashful men. They deem that to be weak. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have a level of confidence. And I didn't understand that then. But anyway, let's move on. Now, this the last time. Now, I did say I was going to wait until the season finale to talk about this situation. I said I was going to wait until the season finale to all of you have seen it to talk about BMF, the saga between Lucille and Charles, Raw Dog, Charles, or whatever. I don't call him Raw Dog because he wasn't even in there long enough to be Raw. I think saying raw is too long. The word raw is longer than the total action that he did. I think I counted 5, not $5 footlongs, $5 strokes. It was like before you could even get through the song. Before you could get through the song.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
I can't. I'm just keeping it 100. So anyway, this whole dynamic took over BMF in some regards. Some of y'all, you wanted to follow what was going. It's from the show called BMF. It was a show called BMF. Yeah, this was a TV show, Shanette. It was on Stars. It was one of the power groups, right? One of the spinoffs from Power. So anyway, well, not a spinoff, but it was like in the Power group. It was totally something different. But here's the timeline, right? I'm about to run this thing down for you because some of you getting it twisted. There was a timeline here, and I actually went back to season 1. I kind of fumbled through it, but I went back to season 1, and I went through every instance where I saw Charles and her, or instance where they did something, right? So all the way in season 1, right? The issue with Charles that he immediately had with Lucille was he was bringing home the money and giving to her, which was standard practice in that time. Black men historically would bring the bread home, and a wife would handle the payment of the bills. They would make sure they dispersed the money where it needed to be allocated. And one of the things that you trust as a husband, if you bring home the bread, that your wife would tell you if there's a financial issue. He did not know. She did not tell him. And in fact, she opened up a credit card in her daughter's name without telling him. So that was a betrayal of trust. So he did not know. Let me spin this one thing for you. So because some of y'all getting this thing totally twisted. Number one, you probably won't date a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer or a basketball player or anybody that's rich. That's not going to be for you. Majority of you, and when I say majority, I mean a great majority are going to date everyday working blue collar men like Charles that don't make a whole lot of money but can take care of a family at best. At best, that's what you're going to end up with. You're not going to end up with the lawyers and all these ballers. That's not for you, sweetheart. They don't do that. And Lucille thought that she was different, but we're going to get to that. So I can't stand y'all calling this man broke when he worked. Now there was some things he can improve. None of us are perfect. It's some things that I can work on even now. You know, as it relates to a relationship, and I would hope that my woman would tell me what I lack so I can better myself for her. But he did his best. He worked the job. He worked. I don't know if y'all notice or y'all can't read that GM means he worked at the factory, the auto plant factories, which was what most black men did in that time. If you weren't working in the factory, you really weren't doing much. Because like here in where I grew up in Gary, Indiana, you had the steel mill. The steel mill was almost a correlation or equal to that as the auto industry in Detroit during that time, which was on a steep decline, right? So people were getting laid off, people were losing their jobs. Times was hard. But we're black in America. When has time ever not been hard for us? But y'all want to rip this man up because he wasn't rich. That's not right. That's not right. He tried to start a family with her. And so what she did was she started to be disrespectful. This started early, y'all. It started in the season 1. And I remember one time where he knew something was up with Snoop Dogg's character, dude with the weird hairstyle. He knew something was up with him. And he told his wife, I don't want you to kind of mess with him. She was like, he's the pastor, which is what you cannot do. Your husband told you something's wrong. I don't know what happens with some of you. We see things that you don't see with men, just like you see things with women we don't see. But when you say something to us, you expect us to follow that. And if we really love you, we will. But you expect us to follow that. But if we tell you something not right with that dude, he ain't trying to be your friend. He trying to clap. Then it's always y'all, you being insecure, this, that, and the other. No, we just see something you don't see. Same with you. You know what I'm saying? We know men, you know women. I don't see anything. I don't see why we can't listen to each other and come with a compromise. But obviously, some of you watching this show didn't see it. But anyway, he said something was wrong with the pastor. And then she said something to the effect that he's a man of God, you need to respect him. And he followed up, well, when am I going to start to get respect around here? And she looked this man in his face and said, when you earn it. That's what she said. And that tore him down. You can see it in his face because he immediately, the conversation was over. He left. He was like, okay. That was around the same time as Mabel, Mabel was coming around, right? And so that was when he started doing work for her. She was flirting with him. Let me say this. Some of you said he was messing around with her friend. That was never her friend because her friend wouldn't have done the things that she was doing. She was trying to get him. It's not a friend. I can see her being, she thought that was her friend. I can see that anger, but that was never your friend. For those of us watching it, y'all keep saying, oh, he messed around with her friend. Yeah, BMF, Michael. You said he messed around with her friend. That was never her friend. Never, because your friend wouldn't do that. Your friends don't flirt with your men. Yo, definitely not your husband, the person you took vows to. They don't do that, not your friends. Exactly. So you couple that. He felt disrespected. He felt like she was not handling her part as being his partner. Then she was withholding sex from him. When she found those porn magazines, she was like, I guess during the time she was still whatever, but she was never really trying to be that. She wasn't trying to be sexually active with her husband. So those three things. You left this man vulnerable. Does it make it right? No, but it does explain. I'm not here to make it right. I'm here to explain to you what happens. This is what happens. You're not giving this man what he wants, and what he wants, you just totally disregard. You're going to do what you want to do, and it's going to end up bad for you every single time because one, either he's going to leave you, or two, he's going to bring somebody in, or both. Or both. So he got with Mabel, right? And they had their little thing, right? And she turned him on to a life that he wasn't used to. And he was excited. He felt what's the word I want to say? He felt good about himself. She made him feel good about being a man. She didn't judge him. She didn't do nothing. You know, stuff the side chicks normally do. It just started back then. It started back then. Exactly, Alvin. She wasn't giving him what he needed. And she pounced on this man. She took advantage of his vulnerability. I'm a hacker. I have a master's in cybersecurity, as y'all know. We don't sit at the computer and just go click, 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 click. We look for vulnerabilities and we then exploit those. We see if we can. And if we feel like we can exploit those vulnerabilities, then we pounce. Then we attack. That's how you get hacked. Somebody who's hacked you, they researched you. That's a big part of hacking. Researching, finding those vulnerabilities. And then once we find them, now we're saying, okay, we can get you now. And that's what Mabel did. She saw him vulnerable. And he lasted a good 2 seconds. 2 seconds is about what he lasted. I don't know what Mabel rolling with down there, but she probably got platinum gold because he didn't last none. I get it. Trust me, you ain't had none in a long time. You probably, yeah, I'm going too far. Stop, Derek. Okay, got it. But still, he didn't last long with Mabel. Got it. They kept their thing going. So I'm thinking out of all the times they had sex, it was probably equal to one of our real sessions. It probably equaled up to one of our real sessions or our quickies before work. You see what I'm saying? So I get it. But she found out about it. Then she exploded. This is the issue that y'all didn't miss. Then I'm going to help you guys right now. You're going to be upset when you find out. You're going to be mad. And yes, you have decisions to make. Am I going to forgive him or her and stay and try to work this thing out? But you cannot totally dismiss your part in it. And that's what usually happens. You find out somebody cheated on you or stepped out or cheating, whatever you constitute as cheating, you found out that this happened, and now you're upset without even trying to understand why did he stray from the nest? Why did she stray from the nest? What did I do? Could I have done something? Did I neglect her? Did I take her for granted? Did I mistreat her? Was I abusive and I didn't know? Was I abusive and I did know and didn't care? What did I do that would make this woman go out, or man go out with somebody else? That should be there while you're being upset. Nobody's saying you're not going to be mad. You're going to be mad. Some of you handle it different. I'm a little calm with it. But y'all probably blow up. But when that man says to you, but you didn't give me sex, you disrespected me as a man, and when I felt like you were disrespected, I brought it to you, and you still summarily dismissed it, what did you think? What did you want me to do? My needs were not being met. Are you willing to look in the mirror and say, well, dang, maybe he is right. I should have done that. But none of you took that into consideration as it relates to this Lucille and Charles. Y'all looked at it and said, oh, he's a dog. He cheated on his wife. And when she found out, she got mad. And not once did she ever say, well, maybe I did do it. So they tried to work on it. He really tried. That man really tried to fix his situation. And the Bible is clear. If he repent, which means he was sorry, he came to you humbly, he tried to turn, you are supposed to forgive him. But she could not, because then she hooked up with square box head Dr. Maurice. You know, the doctor that didn't have a house. He had a house, she just never seen it. So she started being infatuated with him, his money, his status, and everything else. And she felt that he could give her a better life than Charles. I don't really think she was in love with Maurice. She was in love with the idea of not living the way she was living, to be honest. Because when you are in love with somebody, that comes secondary, but all the other things matter first. You know, so she was in love with the idea of being with a doctor. That's what she was in love with. And so she saw the life that he could present. She took every opportunity to make Charles look so bad. I mean, there is no way you can live in my mother blank blank in my house and disrespect me. Hell no, to the no. We don't do that over these parts. You'd have been leaving. No way I'm gonna pay the bills in this crib, because what you doing with Wendy's? Can I take your order? We want extra fries with that new sauce. It's hitting, it's smacking. Because BMF, they forgot that it was in the 90s. They didn't say so, they didn't say goofy. They didn't say that in the 90s. They didn't. That's something new. But anyway, she was at Wendy's. The much she could pay with Wendy's. I'm sorry. So he was still paying the bills. And he told her, I couldn't move out because I could barely pay the bills here now. And he still stepped up and tried to make this thing work. He thinking they on the good, but she playing both of them. She no, she really played Charles. I don't think she played Maurice. Maurice is on something else, which brings me to this. She wanted to go through with the divorce. And when she said, Charles had something to play, and he was like, would you want to come? She said, I should ask Maurice. Ooh, Charles, you just not savage like Derek. Derek would have been like, that's cool, and I'll bring Mabel. We could double date. Woo! She'd have been like, she would have, look, I just would have held, you lay on that, because the cuss words, because she would have been blowing up. But she forgot how disrespectful she was to him. The whole time. She was disrespectful to Charles. I don't care what y'all say. And here's the thing. If you were one of these women that felt like Charles deserved it, please delete me from your friends list, because there's no way he deserved it. Why? Because all of that ended once y'all came together as husband and wife, and they had sex twice. And I don't care, she was thinking about this other man. But Charles didn't know that, just like she thought Mabel was her friend. This woman is just all jacked up. No offense, but she was all jacked up. Charles made his mistake. He got caught. He tried to fix it. What's wrong with that? That happens. That happens. I mean, it's wrong that he cheated on his wife. That's something I would never aspire to do, cheat on my wife. But he did. But he came back in the right way to try to fix it. She disrespected him. Then she divorced him. He didn't divorce her. She wanted to divorce him because she wanted to move on with Maurice. So she does. Maurice, she then before the ink is even dry, she's over at Maurice's place getting, I gotta do it, y'all. Sorry. She's up Maurice's house getting slonged up. You hear me? He just totally wrecking shop over there, right? They laying in bed. And he tells her something I gotta tell you. Because wait a minute. This is why I always say church girls and me, they give me cringe. They make me cringe sometimes because you bring spiritual aspects into things that's not spiritual. You made these decisions. This heifer gonna say to him, God closes a door and opens another one. You just had sex with somebody that's not your husband, and this was your takeaway? God opens another door? You God dang it, you can't make this shift up. You literally, right after getting your cheeks clapped, gonna say God closes one door and opens another. You just cannot make this up, y'all. You not that good. What up, Willie? So he says, at that moment, I got something to tell you. I have a fiance. Now, he didn't say he was leaving her. He never said he was leaving her. He said, I have a fiance. He just said I couldn't go through with the wedding, but he never said he left her. And she got up to leave and everything. He just laid there in bed. He was like, Lucille, don't go. Please don't. Please don't go, Lucille. I don't want you to go. Just stay where you are, ma'am, please. It was so funny. It's like, if he could be more disinterested in her leaving, it was funny. And here's the crazy thing. That's the way it usually happens. Because you think you had something like that. That man wasn't stunting you. He been wanting to clap those cheeks. And once he did, he was gone. Which is what a lot of us were saying. So I had my fun. Woo! I had my fun because I was cracking up. I was like, that's what you get. And then Charles was like, oh, I'm not staying. I got to go. We going on tour now. She looked stupid. Because now you chose to go on that side and he gone. And now you got to do what a lot of other ones do. You got to go there and say, oh, well, God is going to be my man now. And so now, Lucille, from the words of the great Kevin Samuels, and I think I stand for a whole lot of men that was tired of y'all saying good for Lucille, I want to say, buy a dog and die alone. Woo, that was too funny. I was so glad. I didn't care about the show after that. I'll probably not watch it again because I just wanted to see what's going to happen. But I think all of you knew that this was going to happen. All of you knew. And one dude posted it. He said this. So y'all was really wanted Lucille to get her lick back, which is stupid. But getting lick back, it never ends, y'all. It never ends. Once you get your lick back, he's going to get his lick back and that's going to be bad. If you're not going to really try to work on it, then just leave it alone. I would say that. So it's after all that flirting she was doing, finally clapped them cheeks. Y'all lady was high-fiving and S like, all right now, Lucille. But here's one thing. He's been engaged for 2 years. Dude, you cannot, dude, that was so beautiful. But we all knew. Some of y'all knew something up with this doctor. Yeah, the fellas knew. We know this game. He just wanted to clap those cheeks. He'd been waiting since high school, since they was younger, to clap those cheeks. And he would have told her, we can watch all the sequels of Rocky on a bed full of pins just to get to those cheeks. He would have said anything she wanted to hear. And so when Lucille was doing all that to him, and the way she was breaking Charles down in that way, it's ironic I was sent this video that I'm about to show you. It was ironic that I was sent this video. Check this out. This is the most disturbing thing, but I'm going to show it to you. And yes, my sensor was on. Let's go.
Have I ever heard it you? No, because you ain't got a big enough dick. Your ain't big enough to hurt me. I've been telling you that for years. Is this your first time hearing that? Is this your first time hearing that? That got women hurt is big.
You gonna really do me like this?
We're done here.
You gonna really do me like this? Long as I've been with you in bed.
Carrie, we're done here. Cry in the car. Cry in the car.
You gonna really
be a man. Get up off your pussy. Get up off your pussy. And you got to go, dog. Period. But this is over with. What man will want to sit around? What man? This over with, dog. This over. Get off
First
your
of all, she sound like a man. And she talk like a dude, like for real. She talks like a dude, and that's so. I hate that. I would never, ever, 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 ever date a woman that talk like that. Ever. I do not like. I don't do the man talk. That dog. No. Don't. No. I like them feminine. I think there's probably a reason why I like them smaller. You know what I'm saying? Because them husky ones, they kind of get road dog with you sometimes. I don't never like that. That's just not a thing. It's just not a thing. I'm not against dating bigger women, but I just learned that, some of y'all get real footballish. I don't know whether or not to say hut or open the chair for you, pull the door open for you or whatever, because it's crazy. But she sounded like she was a linebacker for the 49ers. She sounded like that. And the way she was talking to him, it reminded me, not in her tone, but the actions, the stuff that she was saying, how she was tearing this man down. And the thing is, she's right. He shouldn't take it. When they show you that part of it, fellas, don't be like Charles. Don't be like Charles. If you did wrong and you're man enough to say, I did wrong, you try to work on it, and she tries to beat you up, that just leave, fellas. Don't let them tear you down, because that part of you is going to damage you longer than you can ever imagine. And it's going to make it worse for the next woman. You see what I'm saying? Because if you learn from your mistakes, or you come to grips with what you did, and you try to make a conscious effort to fix it and make it right, and she wants to take this time out to get her lick back or to beat you into dust, that's no reason for that. Either you're going to forgive me and we move on, or you're going to leave me. But under no circumstances, fellas, should you ever be anybody's punching bag. It does not work for you at all. Jay, now I'm not playing that again. That was cringeworthy. I'm sorry. That was cringeworthy, but not as cringeworthy as some of the stuff we're going to see. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I like good preaching, but I'm tired of us doing stupid theatrics, and it's going to get worse. I keep saying it. Y'all thought I was playing. About a year ago when I started Preachers Going Wild, a little bit over a year ago, when I started Preachers Going Wild, I said it's going to get worse. I said they're going to be doing wild stuff. I think I've seen something that I've never seen before. This was wild. Check this out.
You can't make this shit up.
You just cannot. You can't make it up. What was that? So this is what we're doing. We're doing karate kicks on microphones. I wish he would have failed. I wish that would see God. Next time that's happened, please, God, let him fall. Let him fall. Let him fall, God. Let him lose himself. I know you looking at me, but I'm praying to you. Please, sweet baby white Jesus, let him fall. Let him fall. If nothing else.
What?
I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm so serious. I want him to fall next time. That was crazy. He had a good squall. He had that old Jalen. He had that old I used to smoke cigarettes every week kind of squall. And I think like Baptist dudes, I mean, I'm Kojic. I'm always gonna rip on my Baptist brothers and sisters. But Kojic dudes, we envy that, because I don't smoke enough to do that. And I'm not for the start. I can't. So I got to do it this way. Now, Benny Hinn, he kind of fell off. I don't know if he was sick or whatever. But somebody did an ultra contradiction that he did. And I want you guys to check this out.
I think it's an offense to the Lord to say, give $1,000. I will never again ask you to give 1,000 or whatever amounts, because I think the Holy Ghost is just fed up with it.
And I'm going to ask you to give, and I mean give over $1,000. Some of you would have to give. God cannot trust you with the wealth of sinners and the abundance coming with your $10 donation. You insult him.
Now, I always say this. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I could have swore this man said he will never, ever ask for that again. And then a few years later, he did. So, sir, you got in the mic in front of these people and you said you wouldn't do it again. And I knew something was wrong when you said it. I knew it was all cap. But you what is happening, y'all? I mean, with this dynamic, we don't call these people out on their lies. That's what it is. Over the last, especially over the last few years, people are lying to you in your face. I mean, literally pulling out the schlong after drinking 4 gallons of beer and saying, "Look, it's thunderclouds," but the thunderclouds looks like pubic hair, and that's coming down on your forehead is not rain. But you so blinded that you think it is. And that's what's been happening lately. I didn't like that. That's crazy. And I used to feel like Ben Hinn was okay. I'm never with the prosperity gospel, if to be honest. I'm never with it. I'm never going to be with it. But I always thought he was okay. He was okay. But now, after that, I don't know. Yeah, you said so he just out here lying. He is, Shanette. He's out here lying. He's out here lying. But this is going to be crazy. It's raining now. It's not raining here. Well, I haven't seen it. This is going to be crazy because this was posted. I was going to post it in Valentine's Day or whatever, but I want to post it now because the video that follows it is going to be crazy. But check this out.
How you keep a man happy for 45 years?
Oh my God. Yeah, Miss Pam. Tell him. Oh
This woman said she kept her husband for 45 years by giving him oral. Out of all the things that I would think would keep a husband and wife together for 45 years, I wouldn't think it'd be that. No offense. I'm not trying to be funny, but I never thought it'd be that. I always think it would be something, perseverance, patience, loving, honesty, communication, those things that actually matter, you know, because he can get his peen sucked from anywhere else and probably better somewhere else. No offense, but it's just like being a musician. You can be great, but there's always going to be somebody that does something different from you that's probably more liked at that time, depending on where you are. It's just the reality. So you think you could do it? He probably go to some chick that's like got that gawk 5,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, I don't know if I would have said that, and people just screamed and they whatever. That was. I never would think that sex is the reason why people stay married. I mean, it plays a part. Intimacy is important. Intimacy is important. But I don't think that's the reason why you stay married. But there's some people that disagree with that.
And if the man is forbidden to go down on the woman is forbidden to go down on the man.
Now, there are some people out here that don't believe in oral pleasure. They don't believe in it. And they are usually very sexually dissatisfied people, especially the women. They're usually, I understand sex is, technically speaking, sex is for procreation. Technically speaking, humans have made it pleasurable, right? But if now in today's time, there is no way you can tell me that you're gonna just forbid that. So you got a whole lot of sexually frustrated people in this video. mainly the one talking. But to be honest with you, and this is gonna be so bad, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't care right now. Who would want to go down on you? Okay, now let's move on. Patrick Wooten, Bishop Patrick Wooten has made the show again. Let me. I want you guys to watch. Now, yesterday was Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. And most preachers preached about mothers. They preached about women or mothers, motherhood or whatever, how to be good mothers or celebrating the mothers. Yeah, moving on. Shatina, moving on. But he decided to take a different route. Tell me what you think.
Mad this morning. In all the homes where there's two men, I call it Mudville. There's no mother to celebrate because there's no female in there. And I don't care how he tries, you're not a female. You can be the top sissy or the bottom sissy, you're still a man. You're not a female. There's no mother. There's no mother in that house. Praise the Lord. So we come here today to celebrate mothers. Yes, sir.
And here's the thing. I'm Zion, much respect, brother. And I won't say he's telling the truth. He's telling his truth. And I get it. That's his church. But I mean, if every time I preached, I veer off here, it's a problem. Like, okay, I didn't see none of that on my timeline. I've seen them celebrate mothers. I've seen that. And I don't and they surely don't go to his church by now. So what's the reason of going there? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna go in my church talking about neo-Nazis or whatever, and every week I'm talking about neo-Nazis. I gotta find a way to get to them. I don't need to do that. Why? Because they don't go to my church. I can just preach to these people something different. And it's almost like every other time he's talking about them, and not most of the time they're not bothering him. So that, to me, that's kind of mad weird. That every time you open your mouth, you can't even preach on Mother's Day without bringing them up. They don't go to your church. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm not saying he's not telling the truth, but that looks kind of weird to me that you would do that. Like, come on, man. It's like, and to be honest, going to some of these pages where it was posted, like, they over here saying that the reason why he do it because he probably battling some demons. And from a musician aspect, I can tell you that a lot of them, not all of them, not most, but a lot of them are wrestling with this thing. They are wrestling with something, or they experimented, and now to try to get rid of that and toss that away, now they're beating up on these people every chance they get. If they are bothering you, then that's one thing. If it's a subject that comes up where they need to be brought up, then that's another thing. But to just constantly just go at them for no reason, it's Mother's Day. Nobody up in there thinking about this. You didn't have to do this. That's all I'm saying. He always does this. And I guarantee you, it's going to be another time, and you're going to see every time you got to bring them up. Bro, come on, man. What up, Quentin? Right. Dude said he might be dealing with something. Ronnie said he's a hot mess. Closeted people, Will says closeted people are the most homophobic. And this is homophobia. This is exactly what it is, because they're not even bothering you. There's no debate here. Nobody's saying anything to you for you to respond. It's on your mind. You wake up thinking about it. That's weird to me. I don't wake up, I'm not gay. So I don't wake up thinking about gay men. When I'm talking, I've done these shows and I don't talk about gay men like that. I really don't bring it up unless it's a necessary segment to discuss. But I don't need to bring up gay men. I don't need to do that. But if I'm waking up and every moment I'm looking up pictures, which is weird because some of you got the safe search off. So what are you saying, sir? But anyway, I'm not doing that. one thing for sure, he gonna make he stand. I mean, he stand on business. He stand on business. I get that. He does stand on business. My only thing is, it's just weird that you always gotta find your way to that. That's the only thing I'm saying. You gotta find your way to that. There's plenty of other sins in that church that you could probably wrestle with. And I'm sure there aren't a whole lot of gay men that go there. So there's really other things that you could tackle as opposed to going at them every week. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's really that simple. But anyway, I want you guys to check this out and then we're moving. Well, yeah, that's cool. Like, one thing I can say about quartet musicians, man, they put on a show. They're church musicians, they're gospel musicians, they're quartet musicians. Church musicians, you can throw them all under that umbrella, right? I'm about to give you 10 minutes of what I think is something that happened last week. And I don't know her. You know, she seemed like she's a pretty cool person. So this would not rip her. So before you messy people get going, I don't attack people. I attack their arguments, okay? But she posted something. And when I saw that quartet, I was like, quartet is hitting. But what y'all don't know, quartet is relatively, it's a mix of blues. It's a mixture of a host of things. So the question was, she left and she said this, unpopular opinion. Secular musicians are better than church musicians. Secular means non-religion. That's what secular means, non-religious people. Secular. So musicians that play don't play in church. They are better. I would want to know, honestly, to her, what do you mean by better? What do you mean by better? What constitute better? I gotta dance. Oh no, I'm not dancing, nothing. And so some of my musician friends were saying they're the same. And I can attest to that. I mean, some of my favorite musicians in this area that play R&B are church musicians. They not once were. Rexell Hardy comes to my mind immediately. Paul Jones, Rodney Jones, Leonard Razor. You know what I'm saying? I think Curtis played a little bit for R&B. You see what I'm saying? All these guys that I hang with, they play R&B and gospel. So when you say secular musicians are better than church musicians, a lot of musicians said they are the same. And I agree. And I agree. Majority of these people are the same. But she was like, yeah, they started there, but then they progressed to something else. Please help the ignorant person, because I play gospel. I play church. What is the difference? Those of you who in my comment section that play R&B, what is the difference between what you do and what I do musically? What is the difference that would say you are significantly better than me as a church musician? What makes what you do better than what I do? That's what I want to hear. Because to say that they are better, you can't, how do we qualify that? Because I'm looking at it, I'm saying I've seen some killers. Some people will say, oh, because church musicians are busy. Not all of us. I mean, on records, we pretty much solid. I mean, you hear some gospel artists and they go hard, but for the most part, they solid. They play the songs. So what are we talking about here? And I've heard some R&B secular gigs where they going hard. They going crazy. The drummer ripping off everywhere. So what are we talking about here? In what aspect is secular musicians better? Now, if you want to talk about jazz, now you're talking about something different, because jazz musicians go hard, but they play that stuff, that technical stuff. But see, can they come to church? Because if you are a better musician, that means you can play things better than me, even crossing over here. So church musicians have proven that we can be born and raised in church and go into secular world and do well. Has it ever been proven on a large number where people who were not in church their whole life, never played in church, came from secular world, came over to church and didn't have to have a learning curve, a significant learning curve? You're going to have a learning curve everywhere you go, but I'm talking about a significant learning curve. How often does that happen? Because then we can gauge and say they are better than us. Because you can't take from us and say, okay, now you're better. No, their foundation is still the same. The foundation is church. And you wanted them while they played in church. So how can you say they are better when you're taking them? And you're not, I'm not being funny, but most of the musicians I know that went out and play R&B, when I hear them play, they're still magnificent musicians. They're awesome musicians. But I haven't heard a significant improvement in their playing. It ain't like they went from, magnificent to supernatural. They stayed magnificent. They're still great musicians. I listen to them all the time. But they didn't go leave gospel music and become gods. They still sound great. And then, if anything, when they stayed out there too long and they come back and try to play gospel music, they struggle. So you said that secular musicians are better, but I've seen musicians leave church, go to the secular world, try to come back and play in church and struggle tremendously and have to get their footing again because they're so disconnected from church music. Gospel music is everything. That's the beauty of gospel music. Gospel music is everything. Gospel music can be blues, it can be jazz, it can be Latin, it can be CCM, it can be all of that. It's everything. That's why I love church music. It's everything. It doesn't lock you into one set pattern. It is everything. But if I go out here and I play Anita Baker and that's my gig, or I'm playing all these secular artists, that's going to be what I do. But I'm telling you, I've seen it happen too many times where they'll go out there and they play for one of these artists and they'll come back and try to play for New G or one of these other progressive gospel artists and they struggle. So if you are a better musician, under no circumstances should you ever come anywhere and struggle. You should never go anywhere and struggle because after all, you are a better musician. If you secular musicians are better than church musicians, then that means they can adapt to every circumstance and do right and do great. So when I hear people always saying secular musicians are better than church musicians, I think that that's folly. I think that that's folly. I think that that's grossly inaccurate. Grossly inaccurate. If anything, and this is going to be me, and trust me, I told you I'm going to be here long. If anything, I would wager that church musicians are better than secular musicians. I would wager that because they have to do more preparation. It's not just locking the, like you play for an artist, you go do the rehearsal, whatever, and that's gonna be it. Gospel music, it can be, I play for an artist and we go from one extreme to the other. You will never do that in the secular gig. You never do that in the secular gig. You play for Jill Scott, you're going to play Jill Scott's style. You play for Frankie Beverly, you're going to play his style. You play for R. Kelly, you're going to get on some prison jumpsuits and play his style. When you play for Prince, that was probably the most musically challenging one out of that. Maybe Michael Jackson was more musically demanding. But when you go from there, then you come from gospel, which is all of it. Yeah, it's different. And I would wager that we are better over here. And I understand y'all think we just play all bumps. We don't. We just play that because that's what's popular now. But you listen to the whole service. We're doing everything, especially we are. I posted a little small clip of something we was doing today, and it was crazy. And that thing, I didn't play it when we really, really raised the roof, pause. Oh, however, it was kind of corny, not raised the roof. Jesus, I'm showing my age. But no, we really went to another level. I didn't play that part. I want to play the more expressive, calmer part. So we don't just play bumps over here. I think y'all jealous. I think some of these people are jealous of us because they know we can do all of this. Especially the better ones, the ones that are more experienced. We can play all of that. And we're really never challenged by R&B secular gigs. We're not challenged. If anything, we're challenged to just play this stuff straight. That's the only challenge that it is, that we play the stuff straight. Bass players, we got the setting. You want a heavy bass. You really don't want us up here. You want us down here. Got it. We'll stay here, making probably more money, but it's not more music. It's not musically challenging. Gospel music, you gonna work. In church, you gonna work. Those are hard gigs. Can you send me the whole version? Sure. Sure, I'll send you the whole version. So yeah, I would wager that church now. I know this is unpopular, but I would wager church musicians are better than secular musicians because they're one and the same, number one. And number two, it requires more work on this side. That's my professional opinion, that church musicians are better. I don't care what you say. Now, you want to try to put the youngsters up against some seasoned vets in the game. That's not fair. No, let's go one for one. Let's go one for one. You put up like a Rodney East who's played secular and gospel, put him up against somebody that's just played secular, and then we'll decide then. I guarantee you, you're gonna be like, oh Jesus, that's unbelievable. Most of these cats got their starts playing gospel music, and they got great at being musicians playing gospel music. And it wasn't until they became great that the R&B secular people even gave them a second look because they saw their greatness. And that's why they played secular, where they got locked into the same pattern with this artist that didn't know the intricacies of playing the music that they just finished playing. So we are better over here. God bless you in your ministry. God bless you in your ministry. I love that Marvin Sapp group that's going viral right now. Oh yeah, that is dope. That is, and I love it when musicians flip stuff like that, man. I love it. I might have to, that is one of our songs, so we might need to borrow that for our set. Nah, I'll probably come up with something totally different, but I did appreciate that. And I want to hear versions like that. If y'all playing one of our songs that still is playing in church, I want you guys to flip it. Send it to my inbox if you do. Like y'all been sending me this Marvin Sapp. Y'all, it's been 10,000 times y'all sent it to me. I've seen it, y'all. Y'all can stop now. I got it. Y'all keep sending it to me. I got it. I got it, y'all. I loved it too. And I'm not hating. They killed it. But I want to hear you guys, flip some other songs that we do. Let me hear it. Let me hear your ideas. I love to hear it. Anyway, we're back next Monday. I agree, gospel music is more spontaneous and unpredictable. Got to be on absolutely. Reggie Young can do both. Absolutely. Well, you got some elite players. You got some elite players, but it's not that many. That's what I'm saying. It's more gospel musicians that are doing both at an elite level. If you master church and jazz, you can pretty much play any genre. Agreed. There's nothing more difficult than those two. And rock music. Rock, when you talk about death metal, it gets real crazy, especially for bass players and drummers. I played one couple of songs, and it was terrible. I mean, I played it, but it was I just started thumbing it like this because I just wasn't going the whole time. You trying to give me copper tunnel, but we back next. Me and Stetson Burton was just talking about that Marvin Sapp, but it's hitting. It's dope. I ain't even gonna hold you. It's dope. I love it when y'all flip stuff like that. I like to flip music. I do. I love to flip music. I just, sometimes y'all want to hear us do that way. But I'm gonna start flipping this stuff. Marvin Sapp musicians, they inspired me. I'm not gonna even hold you. So you're gonna hear our set be flipped in a lot of ways. I guarantee you. Yeah, rocking country is getting crazy. Eric Moore, exactly. We can go all day. But I'm about to jump on here. I'm about to eat, but I'm gonna take care. You guys take care. I'm gonna eat. Okay. See you next week.